Welcome back to Pochakachu Plays Techtonica. I wanted to record a tutorial, the tutorial section again, so that people can actually understand what this game was about. So I decided to start up a new save, and I'm also doing this voiceover after the fact, so I have no idea how this is going to turn out. Let's get into it. So Techtonica just drops you into this random lab-looking thing, and got a container here that just grab everything. Wanted to check schematics, don't got anything to start with, so all you can do is pick up the pickaxe and just start mining through the dirt ahead of you. And this will lead us straight into the first terminal of the game, which is the Lima terminal. So just a little background to factory games like this. It starts off pretty slow and manual. You just are going to be mining some iron and copper.
Can you hear me? Your suit can't transmit a voice or ID signal, but my sensors are indicating you're out there. First things first, check in at that production terminal. I need a second set of eyes.
And so we checked in at the terminal and we saw that we only need 15 iron ore and 15 copper ore to give to it. Check the containers, pick up everything. There's some weird orbs here, no idea what to do with it. More containers, you know what to do. We also saw a weird little green chip thing on the ground. We don't know what to do with that yet, so we just leave that alone. Those will eventually be how we upgrade all of our stuff. So you can mine the iron and copper with the pickaxe, but it's leading you to create some of the mining drill because it gave you the resources for it. So we're gonna craft up as many of those as we can, place a couple down on the iron, and we're gonna give it a lot of plant matter, but currently we don't have plant matter. So this is when you start running around and grabbing up all of the, just deforest the area. So as you're collecting, each plant gives you multiple plant matter, and if you look up top, you can see that we're getting a bunch of kindle vine seeds and plant matter. You can see our total amount for each of those. Alright, when you feel like you have enough plant matter, you can go back in. If you hold down L, you can throw just half of a stack inside. So just going to put 250 in each of the iron drills and get those going. And then going to do the same for the copper. Going to place down a couple mining drills, load them up with plant matter. I've been messing around for a bit off camera, and so it's time to check the drills and see what we got. Got 32 iron ore. That's more than enough for the 15 requirement, so we'll drop that off. And only had 12 copper in our inventory, so we're going to go grab the 24 from the drill. Give it to the terminal and upgrade to the next tier. We now see that we need 20 copper and 20 iron ingots for the next tier.
For the next phase of repairs, you're gonna need a scanner. The tech for it unlocked automatically when you fix this thing, so open up your crafting menu and build one.
So next thing we need is we need to unlock the smelter. This will get our iron ore smelted into ingots. Uh, we saw in that menu that it requires 5 of the pink orbs, and then we also need to scan a broken smelter. It doesn't look like we can pick up the pink orbs on the ground. I think those are there just for the requirements for the drill they automatically give you. So we're going to get the 5 pink orbs crafting up. You can craft most items directly in your inventory, and it'll even craft up all the subcomponents. But later on, when items have a ridiculous amount of subcomponents, it can take several minutes just to craft one item, up to maybe even 20. But now that all the purple orbs are crafted, we just need to throw them down anywhere. So just gonna place them next to the ones that are already out there, and then we can go check the tech tree. But we still haven't scanned a smelter yet. So we need to go craft a scanner, and that's under equipment, and there it is. I then take a moment to clean up my toolbar because anytime you craft or pick up something new, it throws it in the toolbar. Not a huge fan of that, but it's also an early access, so can change later. But now that we have the scanner, we're just going to start scanning everything that has that little gleam on it. All the broken down stuff, all the plants, just everything. The plants don't actually give you anything towards tech tree. It just gives you some information in the data bank, but it tells you to scan it each time you look at it until you do. So I go ahead and scan everything. One thing I really like about this game is the soundtrack. So while I'm scanning stuff, I'll just let you listen to the music. Now that we've no, no, blah, 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 blah. Now that we've scanned enough stuff from around here, we can activate the smelter and the tech tree, and that gives us access to actually craft them. The smelter also runs on plant matter, so we're going to need even more of that going forward. So, time to get back to picking up all the plants. They thankfully give you a lot of plants in the tutorial area so that you're never worried about running out. But then we're going to craft up a bunch of smelters because you can never have too many of them. You'll always need more. We're going to put 2 of them on the iron side, and I'm just going to start with 1 on the copper for now. And then we're going to grab all the ore we've been mining this whole time. We're going to throw it in the smelter. Some for you. And then we are going to add the other one on this side. And then grab the iron ore. And get a bunch of the ingots smelting up. I don't think you can craft the ingots in your inventory, so you have to do those in the smelter. But while that's smelting up, it's a good time to start gathering more plant matter and scanning any more stuff you see. Probably about time to check on those furnaces and see if we have enough for the next tier upgrade. Got 23 of them. That's enough. We should have plenty of the copper ones too. 30. So just like before, give them to the terminal, hit upgrade, and this is where stuff starts getting fun. We unlocked conveyor belts, inserters, and containers. So we're going to need as many of these as I can get. So I'm going to craft up a ton of conveyor belts. Did a bit too many, so we only get 2 inserters, but that's enough for us to get started. Apparently, I did not put down 2 smelters earlier, so we're going to get that second one put down both sides, because we're going to need as many ingots as fast as we can get it. Then I'm going to grab whatever ingots I've been crafting while I've been getting the inserters and stuff going, because we're going to need that to kickstart the automation. So you need an insert anytime you want to move an item from one machine to another, or anytime you want to go from a machine to a conveyor belt, or conveyor belt to the machine. So we'll start with just one inserter on each drill, and we're going to output all that to a conveyor belt, and then a single inserter to get that going into the smelter. We could set it up to deliver the ore directly from the drill to the smelter, but you'll see later that it's nice to give yourself some wiggle room for later enhancements. And then we'll do the same for copper. One inserter into each smelter and out of each drill. And once that's all set up, back to scanning stuff and picking up plant matter. I just remembered about that little green chip we saw near the beginning. So we can now scan that. Looks like it gives us access to suit speed 2. Seems like that's quite a bit up the tech tree, so nothing we can do about that now. But that would give us a little bit of a speed boost running around the factory. It's only been a little bit scanning, but let's see how much the smelters have produced. We got a little bit here, but maybe we can make this a bit more efficient. Looks like the conveyor belt can move 240 items per minute. The smelter can consume 30 iron ore per minute, and the drill outputs 25 per minute. However, it looks like the inserters can only do 20 items per minute, so that's currently our bottleneck. But before we can fix that, we'll need a few more resources, so collect them all up. So I didn't do the exact math, but we need at least 3 drills to get the optimal output for our 2 furnaces. That would be 25 iron ore per minute to 60 that the furnaces use. So we'll add another one down and clean up everything we did before. Then we're gonna craft up a bunch more inserters and conveyor belts. And this is what we end up with. We got 2 inserters on each drill, going to 2 inserters for each smelter. So then we're gonna do the same thing for copper. First, we gotta pick up all the ingots that we've been crafting so we can create enough conveyor belts and inserters. We'll also craft up 5 of these containers. Does what it says on the tin. Just use to store your excess materials. I typically always have all the outputs from smelters and assemblers going to a container just in case I'm producing too much. That way I can have excess to do manual crafting or whatever I want later. Something else I sometimes do is if I see that we're producing too much of like these iron ore, I will get a container with another inserter just to the side of the conveyor belt here, just to hold all of this excess. For iron ore specifically, not that useful since you need to smelt it to get the ingots, but very useful for a lot of the later materials. So as I wrap things up here, get everything going into containers. Um, if anyone makes it this far, thought I'd tell you that I actually kind of finished up playing Techtonica and like on the main account. So the next video will likely be either Satisfactory or Factorio because I am not yet done with these factory building games. Um, if you look now, you can see how conveyor belts work, which is not quite as straightforward as you might think. When they decide to curve and not is purely up to them. But once you have them set up properly, then you can just kind of leave the game on and let it build up. If you made it this far, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.